I think one of the most overlooked skills in entrepreneurship is just being able to spot a real market gap. Like, not just, oh, I wish this app existed, but actually seeing where there's friction, inefficiency, or just a pain point that's not being solved well. Look at what Melanie Perkins did with Canva. She saw how clunky and inaccessible traditional design tools were for non-designers, and she didn't try to out Photoshop. She made something that was dead simple and approachable. That's $1 billion SaaS company now, just from seeing that gap.
Yeah, and it's funny because sometimes those gaps are hiding in plain sight. You don't need to invent a new technology. You just need to listen to what people are complaining about. I always tell people, if you hear the same complaint 3 times from different people, that's a signal. Melanie Perkins didn't have a background in Silicon Valley. She just paid attention to what teachers and students were struggling with. That's the kind of market research that's way more valuable than just reading trend reports.
Totally. And for us at Modularity, that's kind of how Modularity Maker came about. AI gave us the ability to create websites at a price that is a no-brainer for any business and done in record time. Need a website by EOD? We got you.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up. They think they need to be the next Steve Jobs or whatever, but really it's about being a good listener and having the discipline to validate your assumptions. Do the research, talk to real people, and don't just build in a vacuum. I mean, you can use frameworks like the lean startup approach or even just basic customer interviews to figure out if your idea actually solves a real problem.
Exactly. And, there's so much data out there now, Google Trends, social media, even just reading through Reddit threads or niche forums, you can spot patterns if you're paying attention. But you got to be willing to challenge your own assumptions too. Sometimes the thing you think is a great idea is just not, and that's okay. The key is to keep iterating until you find that real gap.
And don't be afraid to go niche either, because some of the best digital businesses started by serving a really specific audience. Once you get traction there, you can always expand. But if you try to be everything to everyone from day one, you're just going to get lost in the noise.
Once you've found that gap, the next step is figuring out how to actually build something that solves it without burning through your life savings or spending 2 years coding in your mom's basement.
That's where technology comes in. These days, you've got low-code and no-code platforms, like open source tools, cloud services. It's never been easier to launch something quickly and test it in the real world.
Yeah, and honestly, I think a lot of people still underestimate how powerful those tools are. You don't need to be a hardcore developer to get started. You can use something like WordPress with Modularity Maker to get a product out there and start getting feedback.
Yeah, and I've seen that firsthand with small businesses. I've helped clients launch with open source solutions, WordPress, Ghost, even headless CMS setups. So they're not locked into some proprietary system. It keeps costs down, and it means they can scale or pivot as they grow. And with cloud services, you don't have to worry about servers or infrastructure. You focus on building value for your users.
And the other thing is, you can automate so much now. Marketing automation, analytics, even customer support with chatbots. It's not about replacing people. It's about freeing up your time so you can focus on the stuff that actually moves the needle. I mean, we use a mix of open source and SaaS tools at Modularity, and it lets us punch way above our weight class.
Yeah, and don't forget about community too. Open source isn't just about free software. It's about tapping into a network of people who are solving similar problems. You can learn from others, contribute back, and avoid reinventing the wheel. That's a huge advantage, especially when you're just starting out and resources are tight.
Absolutely. And, the barrier to entry is so much lower now. You don't need a huge team or a ton of capital to get started. You just need to be resourceful and willing to learn. The tools are out there. You just have to use them. The true test lies in implementing ideas effectively. A hurdle for many. Let's look at the book that influenced me the most on my entrepreneurial journey, The 4-Hour Work Week, which revolutionized conventional views on productivity with the DEAL framework. Definition, elimination, automation, liberation. This remains an essential toolkit for success in today's digital economy.
Yeah, I remember when you first told me about it, I was a little skeptical. Like, 4 hours? Come on. But it's not really about working less. It's about working smarter, right?
Exactly. So the first step is definition, getting really clear on what you actually want. Not, I want to make more money, but what kind of life do you want? What are your non-negotiables? The book really pushes you to challenge the whole idea of deferring happiness until retirement. Like, why wait until you're 65 to start living? Set specific goals, figure out what excites you, and build your business around that.
Yeah, and then elimination is all about cutting out the noise. The 80-20 rule, focus on the 20% of tasks that give you 80% of the results. And Parkinson's law, work expands to fill the time you give it.
So if you give yourself less time, you'll get more done.
And then automation. This is where digital tools really shine. You can set up systems to handle repetitive stuff, whether it's using virtual assistants, automating your email marketing, or even just batching your tasks.
The goal is to get your business running without you having to touch every single thing. That's how you free up time for the stuff that matters, or just to take a break and recharge.
And then liberation, right? That's the dream. Being able to work from anywhere on your own terms, whether that's negotiating remote work or building a business that's location independent. I like the idea of mini retirements too. Instead of waiting for some big payoff at the end, you take breaks along the way, travel, try new things. It's a mindset shift, but it's so important if you want to avoid burnout.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not about being lazy or doing less. It's about being intentional. You know, if you can define what you want, cut out the distractions, automate the boring stuff, and give yourself the freedom to live how you want, that's the real win. And it's totally doable, especially with the tools and opportunities we have now.
So let's say you found your market, built your platform, and you're running things efficiently. Now comes the hard part, scaling your business. It's one thing to get a business off the ground, but growing it sustainably is a whole different challenge. You've got to think about business models, subscriptions, marketplaces, whatever fits your audience and product. But you also have to watch out for things like platform dependency. If you build your whole business on top of someone else's platform, you're always at risk if they change the rules or raise their fees.
Yeah, and cybersecurity is a big one too. As we talked about in our cybersecurity episode, the more you grow, the more you become a target. You've got to take data privacy seriously, use best practices, and stay on top of the latest threats. It's not just about protecting yourself, it's about protecting your customers' trust.
And then there's product market fit. Okay, you can have the best tech in the world, but if you're not solving a real problem for real people, it's not going to scale. Heaton Shaw talks about this a lot. Keep iterating, keep talking to your users, and don't be afraid to pivot if something isn't working. And look at what Whitney Wolfe Herd did with Bumble. She found a unique angle in a crowded market, focused on user experience, and built a massive business by really understanding her audience.
Yeah, and I think the key is to stay agile. The digital landscape changes fast. New competitors, new regulations, new tech. You've got to be willing to adapt, keep learning, and not get too comfortable. And don't try to do it all yourself. Build a team, leverage partnerships, and use the right tools to scale without burning out.
And if you're listening and you want help navigating all this, that's literally what we do at Modularity. Head over to modularity.us, get a quote, and let's see how we can help you grow your business in the digital world. There's never been a better time to build something online, but you don't have to do it alone.